parts and then glued together.
You can see that the American armored forces on the south have now engaging the German infantry due to the spotting and radioing in from the Mosquito. The German infantry do have some anti-tank weapons and rocket-propelled grenades and what's called a Panzerschreck rocket, which is basically the German version of the American bazooka. It had a shorter range but a much larger warhead.
The single-engine Supermarine Spitfire is probably the most famous British aircraft of all time. It was made in smaller numbers than the Hawker Hurricane during the Battle of Britain. It is nevertheless remembered as the sleek, thoroughbred fighting machine that turned the tide in that campaign. One of the fastest and most maneuverable fighters in World War II, seeing combat in every theater of operations. The Battle of Britain took place between July 10th and October 31st of 1940, when Adolf Hitler's Luftwaffe pounded Great Britain incessantly, especially during the nighttime hours, where their aircraft could hopefully get in closer without being detected by radar or other ground spotters, and to inflict heavy damage against the British people in London and surrounding areas. The Spitfire made its first flight, the prototype, back in 1936. And more than 600 of the Spitfires were actually flown by the United States Army Air Corps during World War II.
And you see that the armored cars would not carry their infantry all the way into battle. Rarely, they're deploying their infantry out of the back hatch so they can take cover and get into the thicker underbrush to engage the German infantry. Now, with all this activity going on, it should draw the attention of some German Panzers and a German half-track off to the north. But in the meantime, the German infantry that's been engaged is doing their best to slow down the American advance.
No. What?
Development and the success of the North American P-51 Mustang, as you'll see later on.
That's almost one Spitfire for every two Kugelheim.
Tell Hitler so I can do a picture.
That's a remarkable number.
Ryan, take a picture of me. All right? Ready? No, I don't want to. Are you taking a video?
But when one thinks of the fact that at the beginning of World War II, the United States had only about 30,000 aircraft in its inventory, and by the end of the war, over 276,000 airplanes total had been built. That's an amazing machine, and a lot of it happened right here in the Detroit area, and some of it right here in Willow Airport. An amazing number of airplanes were built right here. We'll be talking about that later on as well.
was the 57 millimeter anti-tank cannon firing there and supporting the infantry. Because if you look off to the north, you can see now a camouflaged German tank that's moving slowly up to support the infantry. It's just a single tank, so it's got to be wary of its targets. It has another German half track for additional infantry supporting it.